Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Upajana Vallabha Girvaradari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradari Shodanandana Braja Janaranjana Shodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivedkacharya Stotra Satta Shishimbat A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Srila Prabhupada founder Acharya BBT Iskcon ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, text 34 to 36. Which verse do we repeat? There are 3 verses. I will read the first 2 myself, and then we can read the 3rd verse together. Sarve Padma Pala Saksha Pitta Koseya Vasyasa Kiritina Kundalino Lasat Puskara Malina Sarvecha Nutna Vayasa Sarve Charu Chaturbhuja Danur Nishanga Sigada Shanka Chakram Bhuja Sriya Disho Vitti Miraloka Kurvanta Sena Tejasa Kim Artam Dharma Palasya Kinkarano Nishedata Disho Vitimira Loka Kurvanta Svena Tejasa Kimartam Dharma Palasya Kinkarana Nishedato Tata Disho Vitimira Loka Kurvanta Svena Tejasa Kimartam Dharma Palasya Kinkarano Nishedata. Please repeat. Word for word and translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Disha, all directions, Vittimira, without darkness, Aloka, extraordinary illumination, Kurvanta, exhibiting, Svena, by your own Tejasa effulgence. Kim artam. What's the purpose? Dharma palasya of Yamaraj, the maintainer of religious principles. Kinkaran, servants. Naha, us. Nishedata, you are forbidding. Translation. The order carriers of Yamaraj said, your eyes are just like the petals of lotus flowers, dressed in yellow silken garments, decorated with garlands of lotuses, and wearing very attractive helmets on your heads and earrings on your ears. You all appear fresh and youthful. Your 4 long arms are decorated with bows and quivers of arrows and with swords, clubs, conchs, discs and lotus flower. Your effulgence has dissipated the darkness of this place with extraordinary illumination. Now, sirs, why are you obstructing us? Please repeat. The order carriers of Yamaraj said, your eyes are just like the petals of lotus flowers, dressed in yellow silken garments, decorated with garlands of lotuses, and wearing very attractive helmets on your heads and earrings on your ears. You all appear fresh and youthful. Your 4 long arms are decorated with bows and quivers of arrows and with swords, clubs, conchs, discs, and lotus flowers. Your effulgence has dissipated the darkness of this place with extraordinary illumination. Now, sirs, why are you obstructing us? Purport. Before even being introduced to a foreigner, one becomes acquainted with him through his dress, bodily features, and behavior, and can thus understand his position. I feel like a foreigner. Therefore, when the Yamadutas saw the Vishnudutas for the first time, they were surprised. They said, by your bodily features, you appear to be very exalted gentlemen, and you have such celestial power that you have dissipated the darkness of this material world with your own effulgences. Why then should you endeavor to stop us from executing our duty? It will be explained that the Yamadutas, the order carriers of Yamaraj, mistakenly considered Ajamil sinful. They did not know that although he was sinful throughout his entire life, he was purified by constantly chanting the holy name of Narayan. In other words, unless one is a Vaishnava, one cannot understand the activities of a Vaishnava. The dress and bodily features of the residents of Vaikuntha Loka are properly described in these verses. The residents of Vaikuntha, who are decorated with garlands and yellow silken garments, have 4 arms holding various weapons. Thus, they conspicuously resemble Lord Vishnu. They have the same bodily features as Narayan because they have attained the liberation of Sarupya. But they nevertheless act as servants. All the residents of Vaikuntha Loka know perfectly well that their master is Narayan or Krishna, and that they are all his servants. They are all self-realized souls who are Nitya Mukta, everlastingly liberated. Although they could conceivably declare themselves Narayan, because they look the same, or Vishnu, they never do so. They always remain Krishna conscious and serve the Lord faithfully. Such is the atmosphere of Vaikuntha Loka. Similarly, one who learns the faithful service of Lord Krishna through the Krishna consciousness movement will always remain in Vaikuntha Loka and have nothing to do with the material world. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gananya Salakaya Shakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Om Vishnumadaya Krishna Vishnu Bhutale Shrimati Sattva Swamiti Namini Namam Vishnumadaya Krishna Vishnu Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. So here we are in the history of the life of Ajamil, beginning of the 6th canto, and Srimad Bhagavatam has like 10 different topics or subject matters, such as creation and planetary systems. It speaks about the Manvataras, it speaks about the signs of God. But in this particular canto, 6th canto, it speaks about the protection by the Lord. And here the pastime of Ajamil reflects that, how we are protected by the Lord, how we are protected in this particular case, specifically by the Lord's name. Because Ajamil grew up in a Brahmana family, in a Brahminical atmosphere, a Brahminical education. His parents were devotees who trained him in the Brahminical culture, trained him in devotional service to the Lord. And he was also married by them, and he had a nice wife and very nice situation he had from his upbringing. But then some or other, due to some unfinished due to a lack of deepening his own Krishna consciousness, the unwanted desires were still very much present in the heart. So when he saw a prostitute in the forest engaging with a man, with a karmi, then some or other he became overwhelmed by these desires which were still present in his heart, and that changed his whole way of life. He basically left his nice, educated, Krishna-conscious wife behind, his parents behind, and he engaged with a prostitute. And instead of living a pious life and earning piously his livelihood, he started to, because he grew a family, he had 10 children, 10 boys. So then he, in order to look after his livelihood, he did it by different means which were not very proper. He did it by stealing, he did it by robbing people, by cheating people, by abusing people. So first of all, he had from home, he had some savings. So he also finished this savings, and even when in due course of time his parents became old and in need of him, he did not. He was not there to help them. He did not help us, his parents. He neglected all his duties, and as such he lived a life of exploitation and very selfish life, opposite of his upbringing. But some or other, by Krishna's arrangement, he named his youngest child Narayan, and so this when he became old, because he got his last child something at the age of 80 or a little bit above 80, and so then when his time was more or less up, and then according to the Yamadutas, according to their list, he had a lot of big list of sins. They had many reasons basically to come and interfere and snatch his soul out of his body and bring them to their master, to Yamaraj, for further judgment, because that's the Yamaduta's duty. They operate within the whole universe, but not just for those living on the Earth planet, but also for the lower planets and the higher planets. Their duty is to bring the sinful people to Yamaraj for further working out of their karma, so to say, or working out of their getting punished for their sins during their stay in this universe. So then on that very moment when he saw them coming, these three creatures who were fearsome, they were not very attractive, they were very fearsome creature, and there were three of them, because they represent the words and the thoughts and the bodily activities, because his words were used in a sinful way, his thoughts were used in a sinful way, and he used his body in a sinful way. So then these three representatives of Yamaraj, they represented these offenses of his words and his mind and his body. So they represented these activities, and they came to snatch his soul out of his body, because his time was more or less over, although later we will see that he is not yet leaving his body, because that's by Krishna's arrangement, because Ajamil had so much affection for his son. So when these creatures came, then naturally he was calling for his son, although the son was very little, was at the age of crawling or just a very young child, baby. So, but he uttered the name, and while uttering the name, some acharyas are also saying that although calling for his son, he also remembered at that time, due to his situation, his fearful situation, he also remembered at that time the connection of Narayan from his youthful life, because he had a connection with Lord Narayan, so that he was reminded of that. And at the same time, this had the effect of the Vishnudutas immediately coming down from Vaikuntha and interfering with the Yamadutas. And so here we are in these verses where the Yamadutas just appeared, and the Yamadutas just came on the scene, and the Vishnudutas just came on the scene, and the Yamadutas were very surprised. They're thinking, what is happening here? They saw people they have never seen. They look very different, very attractive, but very different from what they had ever seen. And also, they never had the experience that when they did their job, because they did their job so many times, because so many people are leaving this world, so they are never without job. They are all the time, they are doing this, bringing the conditioned souls to their master, to Yamaraj, for judgment. So never ever had they been interfered. So they were, because they knew their master has very specific power, very special power. Yamaraj is very powerful, that he is in a position, put in a position by the Lord to judge people and to punish people. So one has to be very powerful in order to do that. So for them, their master was the all and all, was the all everything. But here came the Vishnu Dutas who immediately stopped them, and then they were really puzzled. They were really taken off guard, and then they were asking, who are you? In that verse, who are you that you have the audacity to challenge the jurisdiction of Yamaraj? Because Yamaraj was the all-powerful for them. So here people are interfering. Who are you? And why are you forbidding us to touch the body of Ajamil? Are you demigods? Or are you sub-demigods? Or are you the best of devotees? So they were wondering who they are. Where are they coming from? And that's why the description in these verses is there, that because they had eyes like lotus petals, very beautiful eyes, and with yellow garments, long arms, garland of lotuses, wearing attractive helmets on their heads and earrings. So they are saying, you appear so fresh and youthful, and with quivers of arrows and swords, conchs, disc, lotus flower, and especially so effulgent that your effulgence makes the darkness disappear with your extraordinary illumination. So this is the situation where we are in this particular verse. But the very fact is here that it was a mistake from the Yamadutas. Why it was a mistake? Because the Yamadutas had their own list, and they took him like an ordinary person. But by the very fact that he had said several times the name of the Lord, although calling his child, but with intensity and focus, that it reached that the Lord sent the Vishnu Dutas to save him. So the Vishnu Dutas are the inhabitants of Vaikuntha Loka, and they have, as Prabhupada describes in the purport, they have the same body as Lord Narayan. They have the same appearance, and because they have the same appearance, they look practically like Lord Narayan with 4 arms. But although they have the same appearance as the Lord, they are not in illusion about their position. Srila Prabhupada explains that in this purport. They are not illusioned that they think that they are Lord Narayan, because sometimes if we are good in something, then we like to show it to others that we are basically superior than the others. But the Vishnu Dutas, although they have the same body and the same appearance as the Lord, they know very well their position as the servant of the Lord. And they remain very, very humble servants of the Lord. So here in this case they were sent down to save Ajamil. And then Ajamil, he had heard everything, and he had experienced everything, the discussions, because the discussions they still go on. And these discussions gave him a lot of realizations, so much so that from this point on, he basically changes his life to become a pure devotee of the Lord. That's what this whole pastimes results to. Which, and so Prabhupada, sometimes he was asked by devotees, how much time, Srila Prabhupada, does it take to become Krishna conscious? There is even one video clip on that. And at that particular time, Srila Prabhupada said, 1 minute. And then he repeats, 1 minute. So, of course, there are also other statements that Krishna consciousness is a process of purifying the heart, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. So, for most of us, that may be the way to gradually become purified in the process of Krishna consciousness over the years by following the process, by studying, by rendering service, etc., etc. But it also shows that if one is very sincere and totally dedicated, that one can become Krishna conscious in 1 minute. I don't know how to do it, but when Srila Prabhupada says, means it is possible. So, and yeah. So devotees absorbed in Krishna consciousness, they are acting in the material world, but they are not affected by the material world. That's the last part here of the purport Srila Prabhupada is explaining. We can be acting in the material world without being affected by the material world. If you are Krishna conscious, then we are not distracted by whatever comes on our way, because we see Krishna's hand in everything that happens. I meet somebody and that person is rough, tough, like sometimes you can have on book distribution or some service situation. Somebody can be very tough with us. But if we see that Krishna has sent this person to me to help me in my Krishna consciousness, and I probably deserved this type of encounter, I probably deserved to be chastised by this person, to make me more sober, more internal, more deep in my Krishna consciousness. And if we live our life with Krishna always in the center, where we don't get distracted, because there is a lot of distraction in this world. This world is full of distraction. So many things which are superficially attractive. Newspaper is superficially attractive. Some video clips are superficially attractive. But they television, cinema, all these things are superficially attractive. But they take us away from our mission. But if one is focused on the mission, on the Krishna conscious mission, if one is focused on his service, if one is focused on his sadhana, on the quality of his chanting, then one can become thus situated that we are not affected by all this, what happens around us. And then we get that situation that, like Sri Prabhupada describes here in the last part of the purport, Sri Prabhupada takes it from the Vishnu Dutas, saying they are self-realized souls who are nitya mukta, everlastingly liberated. Although they could conceivably declare themselves Narayan or Vishnu, they never do so. They always remain Krishna conscious and serve the Lord faithfully. Such is the atmosphere of Vaikuntha Loka. And then he's saying we can take this atmosphere of Vaikuntha Loka where the Nitya Mukta, the eternally liberated souls, they always remain faithful servants of the Lord, although they get so much facilities and so much. They are very handsome, they are beautiful, they have everything they want to have. They could, they could easily show off as a superior or equal to the Lord. No, they always remain Krishna conscious. They always know their position, and they always keep their position as a servant of the Lord. Such is the atmosphere of Vaikuntha Loka, Srila Prabhupada says. Similarly, one who learns the faithful service of Lord Krishna through the Krishna conscious movement will always remain in Vaikuntha Loka. So we can have Vaikuntha Loka consciousness and act in this world and do whatever we need to do. And always remain in Vaikuntha Loka and have nothing to do with the material world. I mean, in the sense, we have nothing to do with unnecessarily. We do whatever we use in the material world, whatever we need for our service, but we have nothing to do here. We are just passengers here. Just for some time. We are here in this material world, but this is not our home. We are out of town. Our town is Krishna Loka, Vaikuntha Loka, spiritual world. That is our home. So now we are on a voyage, and we are traveling. So just as they say, when you go in a hotel for 1 week, you even if you don't like the color of the walls, you don't start repainting the walls, because you're only there for 3 days. What's the use to repaint and refurnish the room if you're there just for a few days? But compared, our situation in the material world is the same. We are just here for a very short time. So why should we get so much into this material world, all the aspects of the material world that are total distraction and they have nothing to do with the essence of our life? Because the essence of our life is to go back home, back to Godhead. And all these things are just distractions. It's just the game of Maya. Because Krishna gave Maya also some service. And many people engage with Maya. But we as devotees take a distance from Maya. And we can be in this Vaikuntha Loka atmosphere and consciousness if we only use whatever is necessary in our service of this material world. Then we can be, and then as Srila Prabhupada says, one who learns the faithful service of Lord Krishna through the Krishna conscious movement will always remain in Vaikuntha Loka and will have nothing to do with the material world. So these are beautiful points by Srila Prabhupada in this particular verse of today. Is there any comment or any question?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I will speak in Hindi. Somebody can translate into English for you. Who will translate? Yes. Hare Krishna. तो यहाँ पर जो यमदूत वर्णन कर रहे हैं विष्णुदूतों का, तो कह रहे हैं कि सर्वे चारों चतुर्भुजा, कि आप चारों जो है बहुत सुंदर हैं और चार भुजाओं के हैं। तो चार भुजाओं के हैं, लेकिन धारण किए हैं 7 चीज़ें। पहला है धनुष, दूसरा तरकस, तीसरा तलवार, चौथा गदा, 5वां शंख, 6ठा चक्र और 7वां कमल। तो 7 चीज़ें कैसे धारण किए हैं? 4 भुजाएं हैं, है ना, और 7 आयुध हैं धारण किए हैं। तो इसको कैसे समझें? 4 भुजाओं में तो 4 ही आयुध होते हैं। तो सामान्यतः भगवान के जो 4 भुजाएं होती हैं तो उनमें शंख, चक्र, गदा, पद्म, तो 4 चीज़ें होती हैं भगवान के हाथ में, शंख, चक्र, गदा, पद्म। और इन 4 चीज़ें हैं इसमें। अब 3 चीज़ें जो एक्स्ट्रा हैं, अतिरिक्त हैं, वो क्या है? धनुष और तरकस और तलवार। तो तरकस तो हम समझ सकते हैं कि तरकस उनके जो है दाएं कंधे में लटका रहता है, तो हाथ में नहीं पकड़ना पड़ता है। तरकस तो दाएं कंधे में लटका रहता है। तो अब और क्या रह गया? धनुष और तलवार। अब धनुष भी जो है भगवान श्री राम के कई बार जो है कंधे में लटका रहता है, दाएं कंधे में नहीं, बाएं कंधे में। बाएं कंधे में धनुष लटका है, तो हाथ से पकड़ने की जरूरत नहीं है। अब क्या रह गया? तलवार। अब तलवार, तो तलवार भी जो है कई बार देखी जाती है कि म्यान में तलवार रहती है और कमर में लटकी रहती है, तो हाथ से पकड़ने की जरूरत नहीं है। तो इस प्रकार से जो 3 जो अतिरिक्त चीज़ें हैं, तो वो जो है शरीर में उनके जो है मतलब लटकी हुई हैं। तरकस जो है दाएं कंधे के पीछे लटका हुआ है, और धनुष जो है कंधे, बाएं कंधे में लटका हुआ है, और तलवार जो है उनकी कमर में लटकी हुई है। तो इस प्रकार से 4 ही जो है चीज़ें उनके 4 हाथों में, शंख, चक्र, गदा, पद्म। और फिर ये बताया गया है कि दिशो विति में आलोका, जो दिशाएं हैं उनको अंधकार रहित करते हैं, और फिर आलोका यानी और प्रकाश फैला रहे हैं। सब अपने शरीर से इतना प्रकाश है उनके शरीर में कि सब दिशाओं का अंधकार तो दूर हो ही रहा है, बल्कि दिशाओं को भी प्रकाशित कर रहे हैं। इतना प्रकाश इनके शरीर में है। और प्रभुपाद तात्पर्य में बड़ा अच्छा जो है ये जो है बिंदु इसमें बता रहे हैं कि वे सदैव कृष्ण भावना भावित रहते हैं, और वे अपने को प्रामाणिक रूप से नारायण या विष्णु घोषित कर सकते हैं। प्रामाणिक रूप से नारायण या विष्णु घोषित कर सकते हैं। प्रामाणिक क्या प्रमाण है? कि शरीर से इतना प्रकाश निकल रहा है कि सब दिशाओं का अंधकार दूर कर रहे हैं, तो कौन हो सकता है? कोई कर सकता है अपने शरीर से प्रकाश इतना उत्पन्न कि सब दिशाओं का अंधकार प्रामाणिक? ये प्रामाणिक है? कृष्ण या विष्णु जो है अपने घोषे कर सकते हैं, और 4 भुजाएं भी उनकी, शंख चक्र गदा पद्म, और नूतन वयस, बिल्कुल हमेशा जो है नवीन जो है अवस्था रहती है उनकी, नूतन अवस्था रहती है, कभी बूढ़े नहीं होते, कभी मृत्यु नहीं होती, कभी बीमारी नहीं होती। तो क्या है? प्रामाणिक। ये पूरा प्रामाणिक है, पूरा प्रमाण है कि हम भगवान हैं। लेकिन कृष्ण भावनामृत का इतना अभ्यास किया कि भगवान बनने पर भी अपने को भगवान नहीं समझते हैं। इन्होंने कृष्ण भावनामृत का इतना अभ्यास किया है कि इस कृष्ण भावनामृत के द्वारा वे भगवान तक बन जाते हैं, तो भी अपने को भगवान नहीं समझते हैं। इतनी जो है उनकी मतलब वो चेतना जो है मतलब वो हो चुकी है, अभ्यस्त हो गई है कि हम भगवान के सेवक हैं। और माया के द्वारा जो है जब हमारी चेतना दूषित होती है तो हम भगवान हैं, उसमें से गिरते जाते हैं और बुरी हालत होती जा रही है, तो भी हम भगवान हैं, वो अपना भगवानपना नहीं छोड़ता है। और इतनी बुरी हालत हो गई है, अभी हमारी इतनी बुरी हालत हो गई है कि अंधकार के बिना कुछ देख ही नहीं सकते, तो भी हम भगवान हैं। अभी कितनी बीमारियां, 10-10 बीमारियां हैं और 10-10 प्रकार की दवाइयां ले रहे हैं, तो भी हम भगवान हैं। अभी मृत्यु आ रही है, बुढ़ापा आ गया है ना, तो भी हम भगवान हैं। और कोई आ जाए पिस्तौल जो है सीने में लगा दे, है ना, तो एकदम डर रहे हैं, है ना, तो भी दिमाग में विचार हम भगवान हैं, है ना। तो मृत्यु से भी डर रहे हैं, बुढ़ापे से डर रहे हैं, बीमारी से डर रहे हैं, हर प्रकार के भय उनके ऊपर आ रहे हैं, तो भी हम भगवान हैं। तो माया ने इस प्रकार की जो है मतलब चेतना दूषित कर दी है, और नीचे गिरते जा रहे हैं, और नीचे गिरते जा रहे हैं। लेकिन अपने को भगवान जो है समझना नहीं छोड़ रहे हैं, है ना। लेकिन कृष्ण भावनामृत की विधि ऐसी होती है कि आप भगवान बन जाएं, लेकिन अपने को भगवान ना समझें, तो वो ज़्यादा अच्छा है। कि आप जो है इतनी बुरी हालत, इतनी दुर्गति हो रही है और अपने को भगवान समझ रहे हैं। हजारों प्रकार के कष्टों से घिरे हुए हैं, संकटों से घिरे हुए हैं, और जो है भय से हमेशा जो है आतंकित रहते हैं, और अपने को भगवान समझे, तो ज़्यादा अच्छा यही है कि पूरा मतलब भगवान की तरह हमको सुख मिले, सुविधा मिले, और अपने को भगवान ना समझे, हम अपने को भगवान का सेवक समझें, है ना। तो एक स्थिति ये है, तो हमें चुनाव करना है, कि हम भगवान की तरह रहेंगे या अपने को भगवान नहीं समझेंगे, भगवान का दास समझेंगे। एक ये चुनाव है। और दूसरा चुनाव है कि यहाँ जो है बुरी हालत, दुर्दशा, दुर्गति, हर प्रकार की जो है कष्ट, यातनाएं हैं, और उसमें अपने को समझ रहे कि हम भगवान हैं, है ना। तो एक जो है एक चुनाव है हमारे पास। और फिर यमराज हैं, जो यमदूत हैं, वो कह रहे हैं किमर्थम धर पालस्य किंकरान्नो निषेधत है। तो वो कहते हैं किस कारण से धर्म का पालन करने वाले कि हम जो है सेवक हैं, तो हमको आप मना कर रहे हैं। तो धर्म का पालन करने वाले हैं कौन? धर्मराज ना, तो हमारे स्वामी हैं, वो धर्म का पालन करने वाले हैं। और धर्म का पालन करने वाले कि हम जो है सेवक हैं, तो हम भी जो है अपने धर्म का पालन कर रहे हैं, तो आप हमें क्यों रोक रहे हैं? तो उन्होंने जो है बड़ी अच्छी प्रकार से जो है अपना प्रस्तुतिकरण किया। यमदूतों ने बहुत अच्छी प्रकार से प्रस्तुतिकरण की, आप लोग कौन हैं, और आप लोग जो है बहुत जो है ऊंचे धरातल के लग रहे हैं, और बहुत जो है आपके पास ज्ञान है और शक्ति है और उचित अनुचित का विचार है, सब कुछ तो आपके पास है। लेकिन एक बहुत बड़ा आश्चर्य हमको ये लग रहा है कि हमारा जो कार्य है इसमें आप क्यों मना कर रहे हैं। तो उनको तो बिल्कुल संदेह ही नहीं है कि वो जो कर रहे हैं वो बिल्कुल ठीक काम कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि उनको जैसा आदेश प्राप्त हुआ है उसी प्रकार से वो कार्य कर रहे हैं, है ना। तो यमदूतों का जो है जो अपना जो है प्रस्तुतिकरण है वो बिल्कुल सही है ना। और ये जो है जो भगवान विष्णु के दूत हैं, तो इतने ऊंचे धरातल के हैं, वे जानते हैं यमदूतों को, यमदूत विष्णु दूतों को नहीं जानते। तो जो विष्णु दूत हैं वो अपना परिचय नहीं देंगे, वो तो कहेंगे कि किस लिए आए हो, तुम कह रहे हो कि तुम धर्मपाल के आदेश का पालन कर रहे हो, जो धर्म का पालन करने वाले उनके आदेश का पालन कर रहे हो, कहाँ ये तुम्हारा जो है उचित हो रहा है, तुम जो ये कार्य कर रहे हो, क्या तो किसको नरक ले जाया जाता है, किसको नरक नहीं ले जाया जाता, बताओ, समझाओ। तो वो प्रश्न करते हैं, वो अपना परिचय नहीं देते। जबकि यमदूत अपना परिचय दे रहे हैं, तो छोटा व्यक्ति बड़े को अपना परिचय देता है, बड़ा व्यक्ति अपना परिचय छोटे को नहीं देता। तो वो तो जो है यमराज से भी ऊपर है। और जब उन्होंने कहा, यमदूतों ने कहा कि हम इस प्रकार से हम कर रहे हैं और हम उचित कार्य कर रहे हैं, तो वो जो है यमराज की भी निंदा कर रहे हैं। तुम्हारे यमराज को भी जो है पता नहीं धर्म का। बड़े आश्चर्य की बात है, तुम्हारे यमराज को भी पता नहीं है धर्म का, जो तुम इस प्रकार का कार्य कर रहे हो और ये तुम नहीं कर सकते। तो इस प्रकार से यमराज के अधिकार को भी जो है उन्होंने मतलब वो कर दिया, मतलब क्या बहिष्कार कर दिया। यमराज के अधिकार का भी बहिष्कार कर दिया कि यमराज जो है कोई अधिकार नहीं है कि वो तुम्हें इस प्रकार का आदेश दें। तो यमराज से भी ऊपर है ये लोग, है ना। और ये लोग जो है फिर समझ नहीं पाए कि किस लिए इन्होंने जो है मना किया, और यमराज की भी अधिकार को भी जो है चुनौती देते हैं। कौन है ये? तो फिर यमराज के पास जाएंगे, यमराज फिर बताएंगे कि वो कौन है ना। तो उनको परिचय मिलेगा यमराज के द्वारा। ये अपना परिचय नहीं देंगे, उनको तो केवल ये कर दिया, अपने तेज से उनको जो है दूर कर दिया कि जाओ तुम लोग, तुम्हारा यहाँ काम बिल्कुल नहीं, यहाँ तुम्हारा कोई काम ही नहीं है, जाओ। न यमराज का अधिकार है, न तुम्हारा अधिकार है कि तुम इस आत्मा को जो है तुम ले जाओगे, नरक में ले जाओगे। इस प्रकार से जो है इनका तेज है। तो भगवान के जो भक्त होते हैं उनको इतना अधिकार मिल जाता है, इतना तेज मिल जाता है कि यमराज को भी जो है वे जो है नीचा कर देते हैं, है ना। और जो है नाम की जो महिमा है ये पता चलती है कि नाम की कितनी महिमा है, कि नाम के द्वारा उसकी रक्षा हुई। तो पूरा का पूरा जो प्रकरण है ये नाम के महात्म पर है। हरे कृष्णा।
Thank you, Prabhu, for your comments. Any other comment or question?
Hare.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have a comment and a question as well. The comment is, I wanted to thank you for the statement that if we face unfavorable people in our Krishna consciousness, so we should see them as having been sent by Krishna in order to make us more Krishna conscious. That was very special. And my question, Prabhu, is that the statement that by faithful learning, by faithful service through the Krishna consciousness movement, learning to serve Krishna faithfully. So we know what faith means, but I did not want to speculate. So I thought I should ask you over here, what does faithful mean?
A faithful servant is a servant who follows the instruction of in the case of spiritual master and disciple, who follows the instructions of the spiritual master without speculation or without personal interpretation of and if he has any doubt about the instruction, then he asks questions to clarify the instruction. But a faithful servant is a servant who acts in such a way that is pleasing to the spiritual master and that fulfills the instruction given by the spiritual master to the devotee. And there is that example of, Srila Prabhupada asking for milk, and then the servant thinks it's better to give him a glass of water. So, because for whatever reason, that's not proper serving, or that's not a faithful servant. If the spiritual master asks for a glass of milk, then he should be given hot milk if he's asking for hot milk. And if he's asking for water, he should not be given milk because milk is better for him or so. That should be left up to the judgment of the spiritual master. So it's a very simple example, but it does show something, and it has happened in the past that Srila Prabhupada asked for something, and then the servant thought to be more intelligent and brought something different, which is not really pleasing to the spiritual master. So we'll stop here. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Radha Parthasarthi ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.